So we're going to talk about the radians. I know there's a lot of lines going on here. A couple things to remember. First of all, we always start, well, every unit circle has 2 pi radians in it. We'll talk about why. And we always start at the 3 o'clock position and go counterclockwise because somebody decided that that's what we would do. So we're going to start there and go around. So we know that it is 2 pi radians around. So that means if I go all the way around and get back to here, I will also get to 2 pi radians. So that should be pretty good. So then we're just going to do some thinking about this. If I go halfway around, well, I would do 2 pi divided by 2, which is just pi radians. So that's nice. And then if I think about, well, what's half of pi, I would get pi over 2 radians, and that will get me straight up and down. And then I like to kind of think about this. So if this is a half pi, this is 2 halves pi, this black here, the line here must be 3 halves pi, or 3 pi over 2, all right? So what we need to be able to do is we always start here and we're just going to think about counting. And this is 1 pi over 2, 2 pi over 2, which is reduced, 3 pi over 2, and then this would be 4 pi over 2, but we know that 4 divided by 2 is 2, so that gets us our 2 pi. So those black ones are pretty good. And now we're going to look at the red ones. And notice that we still have a red line going over the black lines. But that's an important thing to notice. So we're going to start looking at those red ones. And the first thing I'm going to do is point out the fact that there are 12 segments of it. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 segments. 12 of these units makes up the circle. So each one must be 2 pi divided by 12, or pi over 6. So we're just going to count in pieces of pi over 6. Well, this would be 1 pi over 6. So if this is 0, this would be 1 pi over 6, and we just write pi over 6. And this one up here would be 2 pi over 6. And then we count to the next one. This is 3 pi over 6, and we know that 3 divided by 6 is 1/2, so that's done. This one here becomes 4 pi over 6, and then we go to the next one, we get 5 pi over 6, and then we get 6 pi over 6. Well, 6 divided by 6 is 1, so that's just pi, 6 pi over 6. And we keep going. We get to 7 pi over 6, we get 8 pi over 6, and then we get 9 pi over 6, and 9 divided by 6 is 3 halves. And then we get 10 pi over 6, and 11 pi over 6. And then we would come over here and we get 12 pi over 6, but we know that 12 divided by 6 is 2, and so 2 pi, we're set. Great, those are done, but not quite. Some of you might have noticed that a few of these are reducible. 2 pi over 6. We can change that, and we can reduce it. They're both divisible by 2, so we're going to change that to be pi over 3. Whoops, 3. And I'm going to recommend that you kind of think about doing that as a secondary step. 4 pi over 6, well, that becomes 2 pi over 3. They're both divisible by 2 again. 8 pi over 6, both are divisible by 2, so we can write that as 4 pi over 3. And 10 pi over 6, both are divisible by 2, and that's 5 pi over 3. So now we're set. Everything's labeled the way we need to. Lastly, we're going to do the purple sections. We're going to take note of how many purple sections there are. Each purple section is that big. It's about 40, it's not about, it is 45 degrees. We'll take note, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 purple sections. So 2 pi divided by 8 is the same as pi over 4. So we're just going to count in pi over 4s. Right? The whole thing is 2 pi. There are 8 sections of them. We divided it out. So we're just going to count and think about units of pi over 4. So this is 0 pi over 4, which is just 0. This one must be 1 pi over 4. We're just going to write pi over 4. 2 pi over 4, again, that reduces, so we're all set. We skip the reds. We call this one 3 pi over 4. We go skip the red again. 4 pi over 4 is 1. We get to here, we get 5 pi over 4. 6 pi over 4, that reduces. And then this one here is 7 pi over 4. So remembering these radians is just counting. That's the key. We're gonna keep practicing this until we're able to just kind of map this out in our heads and build the unit circle. The goal isn't to memorize it, it's just to be able to logic our way through it. Thanks.